We just began yesterday Shara Yichud. Yeah, we left off page 62. Well, we just started. Just going to start the paragraph over again. Omer HaMachaber, Kasher chakarnu ma shehatzorech elov yosem mipinos daseinu v'shorasheo. He says, when he says, when I searched, when he delved into what's necessary more than anything, in terms which is the cornerstone of our religion, cornerstone of Yiddishkeit, v'shorasheo, and the fundamental. Motzonu yichud elokim b'leiv sholem shorosh v'yasoda. That accepting the unity of God with a full heart, that is its root and that's its foundation. That's where it all begins. Shu hashar rishon misharei Torah. That's the first gate to the gate of Torah. If you want to begin ascending, that is the most fundamental belief and understanding before you ascend to a higher level. Ubeyichud yiparid hamamin merakofer. And in regard to this belief, this discerns between the believer and the heretic. Do you believe in Yichud Hashem? Don't you believe in Yichud Hashem? In the unity of God? V'rosh amitas adas. And this is the beginning of the truthfulness of our religion. You know, people very often make statements. I remember, many years ago, Time magazine, I think it was in the 60s, where, what was his name, the evangelist, Billy Graham. It had to, when at the time they caught Eichmann, the whole thing, and everything was the Holocaust for a few years. You know, they had the Holocaust, and they said, I don't know who made the statement, it may have been Billy Graham or one of these people, and they said, God is dead. That was the issue. That was the time. God is dead. Because if there's a God, how could there be a Holocaust? You understand? But what is unity of God? Nothing in existence could happen or take place in God unless God wills it. Cannot happen. So therefore, unless a person truly understands what unity of God is, that discerns between the believer and the heretic. That's heresy. Making that kind of statement is heresy. Where is God? What do you mean, where is God? God is here. We don't understand. Not understanding is okay. Why? When? For what reason? You don't understand. But it's God. It's God. We say, Dayino Emes. God is the truthful judge. As we acknowledge God for the good, right? When a person wins the $1 billion lottery, he doesn't ask why. Right? But the Mishnah says, as we acknowledge Hashem for the good, we acknowledge Him for the identical. Kishem. It's a Mishnah in Brachos. We say Dayan Emes. We don't say Shechianu, but we say Dayan Emes. God is the true judge. Is that Sur Tomim Polo? Umishinota mimenu, the person who deviates from this, lo yitoch lo maser v'lo yitzkaim lo emuna. He has no relevance to the act of serving Him or to belief. Therefore, the first statement, what did God say at Sinai? Anochi Hashem Elokecho, the first of the 10 Commandments. Anochi Hashem Elokecho, lo yeh lecha elohim acherim. You cannot have any other. There are no other gods. There are no other powers. Anything that exists is me. V'zreinu achakach Yanavi Moshe b'omro Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echod. Echod. That's unity of God. Elohim acherim. Elohim is deity. There's no other God in His presence. Al Ponoi. Right? It says Lo Yeloch Elohim acherim al Ponoi. In my presence, there's no other deity. There's no God other than I. So Rashi says, what's al Ponoi? There's no location in existence anywhere where God is not. That means nothing exists outside of God. That's Yichud Hashem, that's the unity of God. Echad. Not only God, everything is Him. You know, one of the Sforim, you know, a person has a cancerous tumor, and unless it's excised, the person definitely will die. And one of the I think the Ramak, Ramosha Kudavir, gives this mashal, this allegory to explain it, and the doctor has no anesthesia to give the patient, and it's crucial that the patient has to be held still while the operation, but if the operation is successful, the person gains another 50 years of life if this tumor is excised. And the only person who's available to hold the patient in place is the father of the child. So that means the surgeon is going to be cutting raw flesh, living flesh. The child is going to be writhing in pain, which is not to be related to. And the father himself is holding his child down, where the child is in agony at a level we can't even relate to. So an outsider sees this, he says. He's never seen such cruelty in his life. It's bad enough that the surgeon is doing it, but the father should be the one who should participate, that his child should suffer to such a degree. It's unheard of. But if you understand what's going on, that this is an act of kindness. It may be painful for the moment, but ultimately this child is going to live and have a full functional life. This is chesed. But what do you understand? Identical. It's identical. The Gemara says that Ein Misa B'lo Chet, the Gemara says in Shabbos. Death is directly related to the sin of Adam Rishon. We just read it in last week's parsha, in Brachos, right? So meaning, because when we make a Mishaberach on Shabbos, Refuas HaNefesh, Refuas HaGuf, healing of the soul and healing of the body, meaning the manifestation of illness in the physicality is a deficiency in the spirituality of the person. One is a consequence of the other. So therefore, it's the same thing. So therefore, the suffering is part of it's not punishment. Punishment is rehabilitation. It's a rehabilitation process to rehabilitate the spirituality of the person. So what is it? You want to be part of eternity. You have to be rehabilitated. Otherwise, you're not part of eternity. So therefore, it's a chesed. You know, person goes and takes $1 from you. You know, it's interesting. Chaim V'Loshon explains based on a posuk. It says, the Gemara says that chesed is based on the way you, on its planting. You plant it. So he gives a moshel, Chaim V'Loshon. It's literally famine time. The person has a handful of kernels. And it's not a question where he will die if he doesn't eat the kernels, but he's going to be having hunger pangs. And so somebody says to me, he says, you know, put it in the earth, plant it. I said, plant it. It's going to rot. And here I could eat it and relieve my hunger pangs. The person says, take my advice, put it in the ground. So the handful of kernels ultimately will produce bushels of wheat, which will be more than what the value of it is. So it's the same thing. So when we do something which seems to be minuscule, right? Chesed, I'm giving it away, but you don't realize what kind of return you have on that. What's the return you give the $1? You know, it could be unlimited return. It's the same thing. Many of these things we don't understand. So the pain, the slight, the Gemara says that if you put your hand in your pocket and you want to take out one coin, you take out another coin, that's Yisurim. That's considered suffering at a certain level. And that brings about atonement. That itself is also part of the rehabilitative process. You're disappointed, you want to make a bus or a train and you miss it for whatever reason, or you're stuck in traffic and you're agonizing, right? We're not talking about road rage, okay? Not talking about that. Person took his medication before he got into the car, okay? So that's okay. That itself, that experience has value to be continued.